Hi everyone, in this video is a reply to an email which I just got. It's not a good one, and I'll just go over it for you. It was, it's a lens recommendation. It's a lens recommendation. It says, "Hi Dom, what do you recommend for the Nikon D5000 between the Nikon 35mm f1.8 AFS lens or the Nikon 50mm f1.8 AFS. Now, the 50mm f1.8 AFS is a brand new one that's just come out, and it's also for full frame cameras. The 35mm f1.8 is only for crop sensor cameras. It says the price difference is small, so the glass makes a difference. So the glass makes a difference. I don't know. Okay. Okay, this is always a difficult one to ask, and it's asked by lots and lots of people. It's like, what's better, the 35 or the 50? The truth is, they're different lenses, and they've got different purposes. And you've also got to remember that if you are keeping your camera for a long period of time, you usually want to get the best kind of glass that you can get. So I would, if you're just taking up photography for the first time, you're just like, oh, I just want a couple of different lenses, get the cheapest that you want. But once you've bought that, you'll want to be able to sell that. And the thing is, if you get good glass, and that doesn't necessarily mean expensive glass, like the Nikon 50mm f1.4 is great glass, but it is pretty cheap. It's only about £200–300. Same with the 85mm f1.8. It's an amazing piece of glass, but it's, again, only around about the £300 mark. So the thing is, if you are buying a lens, you've always got to think, A, how much can you afford? But B, how interested in photography you are. And C, if you're not interested, can you sell it afterwards? So if you buy the cheapest kit lens, you'll never be able to sell that afterwards. And that will be £150 just disappeared. But if you buy a really, really good lens for £300 and then you want to sell it later on, that you maybe sell it for about maybe £50 less, as long as you've kept it in good condition, of course. In fact, sometimes you can sell it for the same price. Anyway, so this one, I would say go with the 50mm, because the fact is you could probably keep that for a lot longer, and there's a potential of, if you develop into a different, bigger camera with a bigger sensor, then you can still use that lens. With the 35mm, yes, you can still use that with the D700, but you'll have the crop bit in the middle, so it'll only be around about a 5 megapixel image instead of a 12. In terms of performance, I think they're both top notch, and they can't be faulted in that. But what they will do is they'll give you different images. So if you're doing stuff like portraits, I would say go with the 50mm. If you're doing stuff like street photography, go with the 35. In fact, I probably wouldn't even go with the 35 for street photography. I'm not 100% sure what the 35mm on a crop sensor camera really is good for. Because it's not wide enough to really be wide, and it's not tight enough to really be portrait, and it's not wide enough even to be kind of street photography-esque. You usually want like a 20mm lens, which then becomes a 30mm lens whenever you've got it on your crop sensor. But in fact, this 35mm is equivalent of around about a 50mm lens on a full frame. So it gets kind of confusing. My advice, go with the 50mm, but go into the shop, use both of them, see what kind of size that you're getting from the images, and see what you like, is probably the best advice. Okay, I hope that helps. Cheers. Bye-bye.